Another advanced trick that I can do with my drums at this stage is to push that parallel processing a little bit further. So what we could do is make another stereo auxiliary input. And we'll call this drums parallel, or drums par. I'm going to set the input of this to bus 5 and 6. It's a free bus. And then I'm going to take some of the individual channels from my drum kit and send auxiliary sends of them over on bus 5 and 6. So I just want the direct mics. I don't want my overheads or my room mics. I just want my kick, snare, toms, and the samples that I have with them. So I'm going to send them out on auxiliary bus 5 and 6. I want to make it pre-fader. So as the send is taken before this fader. So if I turn up and down this level, the send level isn't going to be affected. So by holding Option, I can just copy these over. So I want this on my sample. I want to take a copy of my snare sample, and just my tom 1 and tom 2. So these are now sent out on bus 5 and 6 to this channel. And on this channel, I'm going to put some pretty heavy compression. Really, really go to town on them. I'm going to use the Pro Tools compressor. Now, if I wanted to look at these in a different view to actually see all the send levels, I can go to View, Expanded Sends, and look at just Send A. So this way I can actually see the level of them and I can change each one. If I unsolo my drum group and just solo my new channel, this is what it sounds like. So I'm just going to bypass the compression for a minute. So I can adjust the level going to this auxiliary channel over here. So I want plenty of kick, plenty of the kick sample, and plenty of the snare sample. Here's my snare sample. So what I'm going to do with the compression on this channel is really, really drive it. So we're going to give it a pretty heavy ratio, maybe like 20:1, moderately fast attack time and a really fast release time. So we're going to get this thing pumping really hard. Turn up my makeup gain. I'm going to take out less of my actual snare mic because I'm getting a lot of cymbal spit on that, so I'll use more of the sample instead. And same with the kick. So you can see I'm absolutely leveling this very, very heavy compression. And all I'm going to do with this is just blend in a tiny bit of it back in with the original drum kit. So here's the original drum kit by itself. And now I blend in my parallel compression. Hear the difference it makes. Turn it back on again. So it all of a sudden makes the drum kit sound live and in the room. It just makes it sound less sterile and digitally recorded. It makes it sound more analog and punchy. So again, the amount you want to blend in with this is subjective, but me personally, I kind of like to take it to where I think it sounds good and then always just add a little bit more, because you want these things to kind of come through in the mix. That's just me personally. I kind of model myself on the thing that no one ever died from too much distortion. Sometimes things been pushed a little bit hard sounds good. And speaking of distortion, and let's say I didn't want to use compression, it's not uncommon to actually maybe use some distortion on your drums. And when I say distortion, I don't mean very, very high gain distortion, but I just mean some sort of kind of saturation is probably the word to use. If I go to my harmonics, I can use my air distortion, which comes standard with Pro Tools. So again, we're just going to listen to this parallel bus here again. Now that's very heavy distortion there. We don't want that much. Just messing with the filters there just to tone a little bit. Don't want to be too heavy-handed with it. If I blend this in with it again. You can hear how it just livens up the whole recording.